Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Under Triple H's creative leadership, WWE is heading towards WrestleMania 41, and the show's match card seems promising. The latest episode of SmackDown added more depth to several storylines, including the WWE Women's Championship feud. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair engaged in a heated confrontation on this week's SmackDown, where both stars took personal shots at each other. The Buff Barbie and the Queen reportedly went off-script while trying to promote their WrestleMania bout. Considering the escalating heat between the two stars, the King of Kings might punish both Flair and Stratton. The WWE Women's Champion and the Queen brought up each other's personal lives during the intense exchange, which might not have been part of the plan. If Triple H suspends the two stars, he can avoid a potential altercation between them, which may put their WrestleMania match in danger. An angle like this will help the Stamford-based promotion generate more buzz surrounding the title bout, as the creative team can show how both stars are ready to tear each other apart. Overall, it will be intriguing to see how things will unfold on the upcoming episodes of SmackDown, and whether the game gets involved in the WWE Women's Championship storyline. In the Triple H era, many new talents have joined the Stamford-based promotion. Some of these names have already cemented their place on the roster, including Penta Jacob Fatu. On the latest episode of WWE SmackDown, Rey Fenix made his debut in the sports entertainment juggernaut. The Masked Man locked horns with WWE NXT Tag Team Champion Nathan Frazer, whom he defeated in an impressive match. Following this, Triple H shared a video on his official X account where he congratulated Fenix. The Hall of Famer seemed delighted with the former AEW star's performance. The chief content officer told the 34-year-old star that things were just getting started for him in the company. This positive backstage environment is seemingly a major reason why many big names from other promotions are now joining WWE. It remains to be seen how the game will book Rey Fenix in World Wrestling Entertainment heading into Mania. Introduction. In the world of WWE, where scripted drama and reality often intertwine, there's a delicate balance between the talents and the creative minds behind the scenes. Superstars are expected to play their roles, follow the storyline, and uphold the integrity of the product. However, when two WWE superstars take matters into their own hands, abandoning the trust of the organization and defying the boundaries of their scripted narratives, it becomes clear that something must be done. This is where Triple H, the ultimate authority figure within WWE, steps in. Known for his commanding presence, experience, and tough approach to management, Triple H must now deal with two rebellious stars who have gone into business for themselves on SmackDown. What could the repercussions be? What lengths will Triple H go to ensure order and discipline are maintained in WWE? Will this alter the careers of these superstars, or will they rise from the ashes of their mistakes? In this narrative, we'll explore the intricate power dynamics, the consequences of defiance, and how Triple H might respond to this breach of trust within the WWE universe. The story will examine the potential punishments, the emotional fallout, and what happens when two individuals in the spotlight go rogue. Act 1. The Incident. SmackDown was buzzing with excitement as it always does. The bright lights, the loud cheers from the fans, and the high-energy matches. It was just another night in the WWE. However, this night would take an unexpected turn. It all started with two WWE superstars, Zane Williams and Chris Walker. Both had been on the verge of breaking out into the upper echelon of WWE, but their careers had hit a bit of a plateau. Zane, a technical genius known for his methodical style, had always struggled to get the crowd behind him. Meanwhile, Chris, a charismatic yet reckless powerhouse, was often seen as someone who relied more on showmanship than wrestling fundamentals. Despite their individual shortcomings, the two had been placed in a tag team match against two of the company's top talents. As the match unfolded, it became clear that something was off. Zane and Chris were deviating from the script. They weren't following the planned spots, nor were they adhering to the choreography established by the creative team. Instead, They began improvising, pushing boundaries, and taking the match into uncharted territory. At one point, Chris botched a move so badly that it nearly ended the match early. However, it wasn't just the botch itself that raised eyebrows. It was the look on Chris's face afterwards, smirking at the crowd, as though he were in full control of the moment. Zayn, on the other hand, was pushing his own agenda. Instead of working in sync with his partner, he began taunting the crowd, breaking the flow of the match entirely. He broke kayfabe, interacting with the audience in ways that weren't in line with his character. Worse yet, he seemed to mock the promotion itself, sending subtle jabs at the product. The match was a disaster. The finish was messy, and the post-match celebration was nothing more than chaos. The fans, ever perceptive, immediately sensed that something wasn't right. Word spread quickly backstage that Zayn and Chris had gone off script, doing their own thing in an effort to create a moment for themselves, regardless of the consequences. Triple H had seen it all. As an executive, he was no stranger to creative tension and the unpredictability of live television. But this was different. This wasn't a creative dispute. This was blatant insubordination. Zayn and Chris had thrown caution to the wind and jeopardized the integrity of the product in front of millions of viewers. What happened next would send shockwaves through the WWE locker room. Act 2. The consequences. The next morning, the WWE offices were tense. Triple H was preparing for his meeting with the two offending superstars. His reputation as a no-nonsense authority figure had been built over years of being in the business. As the heir apparent to Vince McMahon's empire, he understood better than anyone that every action in the WWE had consequences. Zayn and Chris knew they were in trouble. Their actions had been reckless, and they couldn't deny it. As they entered Triple H's office, they were greeted with an icy silence. The game's intensity radiated off him, and they both instantly understood that this wasn't just going to be a simple reprimand. Triple H began the conversation with a few pointed questions. Why did you two think it was okay to go off script? Triple H's voice was calm but dripping with authority. Zayn, always quick to justify his actions, tried to explain. We were just trying to make the match more exciting. We wanted to create a moment that the fans would remember, something unique. Chris, ever the showman, chimed in. Exactly. We wanted to give the crowd something they hadn't seen before. Everyone's always doing the same thing. Why not shake things up? Triple H's eyes narrowed. And you think you can just ignore the hard work that goes into building these stories? You think your individual moments are more important than the company's vision? His voice grew sterner. You've both disrespected the product, the company, and most importantly, your fellow superstars who followed the script. Chris tried to defend himself. We weren't trying to disrespect anyone. We were just doing our own thing. Triple H stood up from his desk, walking slowly towards the two men. You've got to understand something. WWE isn't about doing your own thing. It's about the collective vision of everyone involved. When you go off script, you're not only affecting the match but the entire show. Do you think the writers, the producers, and the other talents are just sitting around waiting for you to make a moment? There was a tense silence before Triple H continued. You've both made a mistake, and there are consequences for actions like this. Act 3. The punishment. Triple H wasn't known for being lenient with superstars who acted out of turn. He had seen too many talents make the same mistake and fail to understand the importance of discipline within the business. For Zayn and Chris, the punishment would be severe, but it would also serve as a lesson for everyone in the locker room. I think it's time you both learn what it means to respect the business, Triple H said, his voice low and deliberate. 1. Demotion to lower card. Zayn and Chris would no longer be featured in high-profile storylines. Instead, they would be moved to the lower card for a period of time, where they would have to prove their worth through hard work and dedication. No more headlines, no more spotlight. Their punishment would be public, and it would serve as a reminder to everyone that no one was above the system. 2. Public apology. Triple H demanded that both men make a public apology on SmackDown the following week. They would address the fans directly, explaining why their actions were wrong and how they would work to regain the trust of the locker room and the WWE Universe. This would be their opportunity to show humility, something that both men had sorely lacked in the past. 3. Loss of backstage privileges. For a period of time, Zayn and Chris would have no say in the creative direction of their characters. They would have to follow the direction given to them by the creative team without complaint. The days of suggesting changes or trying to rewrite their own storylines were over. 4. Forced tag team rematch. As part of their punishment, Triple H would make Zayn and Chris face each other in a series of tag team matches against top WWE superstars. These matches would be designed to humiliate them, forcing them to work together despite their prior issues and egos. They would not only have to work hard to earn the crowd's respect again, but also prove that they could follow orders and work within the established structure of WWE. Triple H had one final message for them. This is a chance for you to prove yourselves, not to me, but to the locker room and to the fans who rely on you to tell a great story. If you can't handle the consequences, you won't last long here. Act 4. Redemption or ruin? The weeks following their punishment were grueling for Zayn and Chris. They were forced to work in front of smaller crowds, in more controlled environments. Their matches were less flashy, more about discipline and technique than spectacle. While initially resentful, both men began to understand the weight of Triple H's decision. Zayn found himself working on his in-ring craft, honing his skills, and getting back to the fundamentals that had made him a standout talent in the first place. Chris, on the other hand, began to understand the importance of team dynamics. No longer was he the lone wolf. He had to collaborate with his partner, learn to trust the process, and respect the other performers in the company. By the end of their punishment, Zayn and Chris had transformed. They were no longer the cocky, defiant superstars who thought they knew better than the system. Instead, they were humbled veterans, earning the respect of their peers through their hard work and dedication. Triple H watched this transformation closely. He knew that redemption wasn't guaranteed, but in Zayn and Chris's case, they had earned another shot. Their time on the lower card had been a wake-up call, and they had learned what it truly meant to be a WWE superstar. For Triple H, this was more than just a punishment. It was an investment in the future of the company. After all, in the world of WWE, redemption is always possible, but only for those who understand the value of respect, discipline, and teamwork. Conclusion. In WWE, the line between scripted drama and reality can blur, and when two superstars decide to go off-script and take matters into their own hands, there are consequences. Triple H, ever the enforcer of discipline within the company, stepped in to remind Zayn and Chris that the business is bigger than any one individual. Through his tough love and strategic punishment, Triple H not only disciplined the two men, but also gave them a chance for redemption. This storyline serves as a reminder that in WWE, respect for the system and the company is paramount. For those who break that trust, there is always a price to pay. However, for those who learn from their mistakes, there is always a path back to greatness. In the end, Zayn and Chris emerged from their punishment stronger, wiser, and more committed to the WWE Universe. The lesson was clear. You can go into business for yourself, but at the end of the day, you must always answer to the bigger picture. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our WWE official YouTube channel for more update news.